when you go to flip between screens, it doesn't always necessarily show you what I see. So if at any point it doesn't, then you need to let me know. So I'm going to place Ben on mute, and I'm going to place Gabby on mute just for now. So we've got no background noise. Okay, so the great thing about Zoom calls is that you can ask questions right the way through. So just remember to unmute yourself. If you're talking away to yourself, it's probably because we can't hear you. But I would, when I do these sessions, I would encourage you to ask me questions, because me talking to you for 25 minutes is, I wouldn't want to hear me just rolling on for 25 minutes. So if at any point I'm talking and you want to ask a question, I would really encourage you to do that. Zoom will work by pulling forward your screen when you go to talk. When I put you onto a screen share, you may lose the tiles and not be able to see one another, and that's purposeful, because that's going to show you a screen instead. So there may be a slight delay when I move around my screen by comparing to when you see it. It may not be a massive delay, but you may get that nonetheless. So a little bit about me and what we do, just very quickly. So my name is Ruth Wilkinson. I run the Consult Centre. As part of that, we are a training company, and we are a coaching business. So we coach people in business and in life generally, but we work with people one-on-one or in groups, or we train. And we're also the provider for training of senior management and business at Lancaster and Morecambe Business College. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to kind of take you through some social media planning and content. And the reason for that is because it's one of the things I get asked probably more often. And at the end of this, I'll also send you, or allow you, a link to download a template that I already created, which makes it so much easier for you to be able to do it, because everyone says they're going to do it and they don't. And that's because I don't think they have the time to sit down. And when they do get the time to sit down, they don't know what to do. So I'm hopefully going to achieve those things for you for today. This video is being recorded, so it probably get posted later. If you absolutely don't want to appear on screen anywhere, then quickly flick your video off now. But we're going to go to screen share anyway, so they're probably not going to see a great deal of you in terms of on this video itself. And that's what we're going to do. So, is there any questions before we start? Oh, and Janet's just said she feels she's got a dreadful cold and she's still in bed, so she's watching it from there and not turning the screen on. Are there any questions before I take you through and talk to you about the social media calendar and the planning? Is there, in fact, the question would be, what do you really want to get out of this call so I can make sure it's useful for everybody? So Anne, can I start with you? Do you want to unmute yourself and just tell me what you want to get out of the call?
Yeah, planning for my Facebook posts, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Just in terms of when and what to post.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll make sure we do that. Okie dokie. Diane Wright, what about yourself? What would you like to get out of it?
Yeah, very, very similar actually. Just posting things on Facebook, excuse me, and getting my posts seen, which seems to be a major thing as well. I was trying to verify what I'd seen on one of your posts the other day, and I don't have that button either. I have reported it, so I'm just waiting to see. But yeah, something similar to
okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay. Verifying your page, if you've submitted a support ticket, because I put a link underneath to do that, so they will come back to you in about 72 hours, but Facebook don't start work again until tomorrow, actually. Slight time delay, but tomorrow afternoon for them compared to for us. So there will be a slight delay, but it probably will be, I would imagine it'll be Thursday next week by the time you get a response. But keep an eye on what's called the support inbox, because no one can ever find it. If you go to the help section, the support inbox will then highlight itself and you'll get a red icon if they've replied. But yeah,
Thank you.
We'll talk about targeting, we'll talk about posting and what to post. Abby, what about from you? Is there anything particularly you want to get out of it?
Well, I've just got quite a few Facebook pages, and I end up focusing on one of them and then forgetting about all the others. So if I just have a plan where I can come up with, this is the sorts of things I'm going to post on each of them, then that would be really good.
Okay. Okie dokie. Make sure we cover that. Diana, what about yourself?
similar to the others, really, just knowing how to organise it. I've also got a page and several groups that I really need to get some coherence between, really.
Okay. We'll cover that. Zoe, you've done quite a lot of work already, haven't you, in terms of what you've been doing? So what would you want to get out of it?
I've been mainly that blog posts I'm looking at the moment to get a bit more things on the websites and a bit more on Google, really.
Okay. So blog posting, note section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Content, really. What sort of content as well?
Okay. Then what about yourself? Can I come to you next? What would you like to get out of it?
I'd like to be a bit more consistent. I'm just a bit inconsistent in nature, and sometimes I might focus on Facebook more than Instagram or the other, and then I'll have loads of ideas for one of them, and then I'll leave it for ages, and I know that's not a good thing. I just want to have a plan so that I'm a bit more consistent.
Okay. Well, Ben is on his screen. He's all wondered, I think. Gabby, come to you next then. What would you like me to cover off for you? Is there anything particular other than what the guys already said?
Yeah, no, I'm much the same. It's consistency, and so that I can plan valuable content for people, so then the planning will allow it to be, I think, more useful. Okay. Janet, I know you're listening and you've got a dreadful cold, but I'll just give you the chance if I unmute you. Is there anything that you want me to cover other than cold and flu remedies?
Cold and flu remedies would be great. The consistency is really interesting, and just reiterating going into the new year all we've learned with you anyway. So that, and trying to get rid of my cold will be good.
Okay, I'll cover off consistency. I can't promise to get rid of the cold, but I'll try. Lizzie, coming to you. Can you anything that you want me to cover?
What not to post. I know that sounds a bit stupid, but yeah, again, I've got too many pages, and I don't know whether I'm better just putting them all as one.
Okay.
And videos, like what content should be in a video, but I don't know if you're going to cover that today. So.
I'll do my best to get around as much as I can do, most definitely. Okay.
Thank you.
Ben, are you back there, or is Judith back there? You're in the dark for us because you've got a bright light behind you, so we can't see you. There you go. Hi. Anything particular you'd like me to cover off for you?
Just in particular, just being more efficient with the posts and how it gets the time. So I obviously don't have too much time in between clients and stuff to do stuff, so I need to organise that and make sure I get the more benefit from it, really. Okay, we'll do that. And then down at the bottom of this tile, I've got someone who's logged on as Samsung Galaxy. Is that going to be Ben? Is he logged on somewhere else, or is that somebody completely different? Let's find out who that is. We've got a mystery person. So.
Hello, no, it's me, it's Donna.
Hiya.
Sorry, I've just woke up.
Love your honesty. What would you like me to cover off? Is there anything in particular you want me to cover off?
Just if you're opening like a Facebook shop, really, to sell your products and things, or would you prefer to like sell your services and products on another platform?
Right, okay. I'll do my best to cover it. Okay, super. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share screens with you, because part of that, I think, I'm going to assume a certain amount of knowledge in terms of people and the Facebook. So one of the first things about content is you can put as much content on as you like, but if your Facebook page isn't accurately laid out, then that can also inhibit how much people see of you. So I'm going to go and share a screen, and I will come back to you now. So I want you to be able to tell me firstly if you are able, everybody, to see that screen. So just nod your head because I can see you. That's very amusing. There's lots of people nodding their head all at the same time. Okay. So this is the Consult Centre's Facebook group, but we also obviously have a Facebook page. So I'm going to go over to that Facebook page. So I'm hoping that, I'm going to assume you're going to tell me differently if you can't see that. So first things are, and I appreciate, you will see here that there are many different menus that you won't have as standard on your Facebook pages. That's because they are links that I have developed and placed on via a bit of software that allows me to do that. I can't go through all of that today because it's quite a complex piece, but even with what you've got as standard, there are some key things that you should have listed. And one of those, and Zoe did refer to it earlier, is this section, which is the notes section. Now, don't worry too much about making loads of scribbles whilst we're doing this, because you'll be able to watch this call back, because I'll make sure that you're all available to watch it back. So you can kind of concentrate on looking at the screen, really. But the notes section is effectively a blog section, and you can add that to your page, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But if I'm going to talk to you about content, then this is one of the areas that you need to have organised before you start to think about content, because it's really it's very often neglected, and actually it's a really good source of information for your customers, but equally for content for you. So this is the Consult Centre's notes section, and effectively it's a blog, and it allows you to do far more in-depth posts and articles and information. Because, and the reason I take the time to show you that is that notes remain in order and remain as a link that your page viewers can see at all times. It's a permanent link. Whereas if you're putting lots of posts on, well, posts over time drop down in a page. So what happens then, of course, is that people lose where your posts are, and they lose them because content shifts people down and shifts other content down. So if I've posted on a Monday, if it comes to Thursday and someone's looking for the post from Monday, they're going to go through an awful lot of information to try and find it. And the way that social media works now is people just don't take the time to do that, seldomly actually. So putting things in a notes section makes a huge difference. So what does a note look like? So for example, these are some things I put on yesterday. So if you were to click on that and open it up, you get a blog post effectively. And it's a far more aesthetically pleasing place to go to be able to read and take information, but it's also far more detailed. It's very easy to do. If I was to create a note now, and I'll go to my kind of management section to do that, and I'll show you how, but you can do that literally in a couple of minutes. So if I was to go to my notes section, and you would see here an add note, you would go to add note, and a blank screen will appear, which looks like a blog post. You would put in your title. You may add in a photograph that you have previously got on your Facebook page, or you may wish to add into that another upload or another post. So you'd put your post on, you'd put your photograph in, and you would work away and do that. So later on today, I'll show you, I'll put on the video about how you create posts from your settings menu, but you need to have that section created. So in terms of content and social media, it is really important to have consistent content, and everybody can schedule posts now, both on a page and on a group. So that's really key. So if you're going to go and schedule a post, you would choose to write your post, whatever that may be, and that can be a document or whatever. When you go to publish, you'd click on there, you would go to schedule, and then you can create when that post then goes live. And also actually when it disappears, if you want to stop it from being given to people's news feeds. That's key, because that's how your your schedule, your social media schedule will work. So if I now go to share with you, I'm going to stop from that, and I will take you to the share of the particular calendar itself. So to make sure that everybody is about to be able to see that. So if everyone can see that, which is a Word document you should be looking at now, which is tiled. So if everyone can see that document. Okay. This is what I would use as a social media scheduler, and I will give you all a copy of this to download. So in the month will be where I would put that. I would put my key messages to communicate. So in this example, I may place in there the fact that I'm going to make sure that I advertise the courses that the Consult Centre has got coming up. And then I've got a key along here, which gives me all the different versions of my social media platforms that I may use. So do I put something on the website? Do I put something on a blog? Do I put it onto YouTube? Right, and more options. And then I literally use this to plan and write out what it is that I'm going to be doing. And I use it either for a 4-week or a 5-week month. And actually, this doesn't take too long. You could do this in week blocks if you wish to. You could do it in month blocks if you wanted to. But this is what you do, and you're nowhere near a PC when you're doing this. You're actually just understanding what you're going to be sending out in terms of content. And often you can use this in just a very simple way. So when you start to use it initially, you'll just be writing in here what you're going to be doing. And then you would colour code that for where you're going to be posting it, so that you can see how many Facebook posts you've got going out, how many YouTube posts, how many Facebook group posts you've got across a month. So you can see whether or not you're over posting into some areas and not posting into others, which Danielle was a little bit of what you were talking around in terms of consistency. So that makes quite a big difference. So an example in terms of one which I would have filled in, I'll take you to shortly and show you how that works. One of the areas that I would talk about with you is input and output. So for example, if I was using this now, not whether you guys can see this, but I would tend to draw a line that's down this. You'd do that, piece with a pen, pencil, whatever. And in here would be my output, so therefore what's going to be published that day. But in here would be what work I'm actually scheduling that day. So what I mean by that is, Monday I might set myself a goal to schedule 5 posts. And those posts may go out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. But here, I'll know when everything is going live. So I'm going to know when I've got enough content going out, and also make sure I don't overpost, as I've said, or only concentrate on one particular platform. And that makes quite a large difference, because your client base needs to see, on average, well, as a minimum, 7 different interactions from you before they start and take interest. So actually it can be as much as 21 before a client is compelled to take any action. So if you imagine that in a month you've got, well, it depends if you do a full calendar of all 7 days, you just work during 5 days, but you've got a number of opportunities to create that recognition in the customer, but you have to do it sensibly and you've got to do it consistently. And the time to market and do this planning is actually when you are busy. So I've got clients that come to me and say, it's gone quiet now, I need to do marketing. And my answer to that would be, it wouldn't have gone quiet if you'd done marketing when you were busy. And people think, well, I'm quiet now, I'll do some marketing to get some clients in. No, you need to be marketing when you are busy. And I appreciate, as Judith said, she hasn't got much time, but actually that is doing this and scheduling forward does give you that time back. So as an example, I've created on the 20th of December my plan for January. I don't really need to touch it now. And it will just roll out and schedule on its own. And I do that both in group scheduling and in my Facebook page scheduling. So it makes a massive difference. So before I go much further, I'm just going to kind of put you all back onto a tile share, and just before I go to the actual completed example, and ask if you've got any questions, if that's making sense. If you want to unmute and ask me any questions so far before I kind of go much further, do you just want to ask me any questions?
How far in advance can you schedule on Facebook?
Months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. When you press schedule, it will take you to a calendar, and you can just choose your date and choose your time, and from there you're away. There's no limitation. I mean, all I would say is be mindful that times change, and what you think is relevant content now may not be relevant content in a month's time, or you may say something which seems completely benign now, but then, you know, something happens and you've made a quip or a comment about something, and as a result of that, you don't look like you've got your finger on the pulse of current market. So I would be mindful. I don't really do more than a month in advance, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Okay. But absolutely, it's you're quite available to do that. As I say, I've just done all of January. I'll still do parts, you know, and go in and do additional things, but I'll check the calendar because I'll make sure that I've not over posted, so that I've not got two things going out at the same time, or, you know, because that can happen. So,
but you can't schedule on the other platforms.
So,
unless you're using a
software. So, and it's a good point, actually. I'm glad you've raised that point, because one of the issues you have is that we can use software. So there's things called Hootsuite, for example, which I think you guys will have heard mentioned before, and that allows you to schedule posts. But Facebook's algorithm now can determine when you have done that. So, and it will de-rank your page. And I think if you watch some of the Q&As that I've done recently, you will have heard me talk about that. So if you want to post to Twitter and you want to post to other platforms, so I'm trying to think what else you might want to do, really. If you want to post to Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, you would be able to do that. There, no problem. But what you don't want to do is do that in Facebook. Facebook can tell when that's happening, and it will de-rank your page as a result.
Right, okay.
So that can cause, obviously, you can imagine, cause real issues for you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Ruth, it's Lizzie. You've said in the past, and I can't remember what's the best time to schedule these posts for? Can you just run that past me again?
Yeah. So if you're on somewhere like Instagram, you know, posting after 10 o'clock's pretty much a pointless exercise, if I'm honest, unless you are in an industry, in a market where your subscribers or users are up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which, you know, there are some people that are. So really after 10 o'clock on Instagram, I wouldn't do. People also have this thing around, I get it quite a lot. People say, well, I'll post when people have, in the morning before they go and drop the kids off at school and things. And I think if you are a mother or a carer or a guardian of any sort, the idea that you've got 20 minutes to have a look through Facebook and actually take in information whilst kids are running around with school bags and the lifts are late and God knows what else, probably not the best time to do it. So actually, one of the key times to post on Facebook really is 1 o'clock in the afternoon right through till about 8 o'clock of an evening time. And on a Sunday, actually it changes altogether. So it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night time. And I can send out, actually, I'll post timings, which I've posted before if you have a look on the page, and it gives you ideal times to post for every single different platform. It'll talk about what the dead zones are and what they're not.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. I'll put the dead zones out. It is actually on there, but I'll refresh it and do it. Twitter's different. Twitter, there's always someone waiting to complain on Twitter. So post when you fancy and when you like. Twitter is about everybody knowing what's happened first. Twitter's where people go to complain and generally talk about what's wrong with the world, or breaking news, or sarcasm or trolling other people. So if you want to go on in Twitter, there's always somebody available to listen to your complaints and comments.
Is it wrong not to have a Twitter account?
Sorry?
Is it wrong not to use a Twitter?
Not at all. If it's not a platform that you're particularly familiar with or don't feel lends itself to your industry. I don't tend to use Twitter very much. I would use more of LinkedIn, and I would use Facebook, obviously, and Instagram and the webpage for me. I mean, a lot of consultants do use Twitter because they're going for a corporate client. If you've got corporate clients, then yeah, absolutely, go to Twitter. But actually, I'd say LinkedIn was just as much a useful platform. But I'll post out the dead zones later because they update on a regular basis, and they're also based on time zones. So what I would say is if you could go searching for dead zones, I'd ask you to make sure that you're looking for dead zones for the UK, because most of them come up for America, and you'll be completely back to front in terms of how you post. But I'll send one out to you all later. Any other questions?
Hi, it's Diana. Can you schedule into other people's groups that you're allowed to share in, or only your own?
Only your own, or those that you're an administrator of. So if you are, it's not your group, but or not your page, but you're an admin, yes, absolutely. But you can't schedule a post in a group or on a page that's not yours, or you're not an administrator in. If somebody puts you as a contributor, that you can do. But no, if you're just a general user of a page, you can't schedule into somebody else's.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions before I move on? No? Good. Okay. So a bit about content before we go any further. People, if you think about content as advertising, it's probably your first mistake. The way in which social media works is people want your credibility, they want your education, and they want your knowledge, but they're not going to pay for that straight away. You have to create a reputation, and you have to create a customer base and a bit of a following. So I have people that, when I look at their Facebook profiles, all they're doing is posting out free offers and training, say for example, training courses or appointments they've got for the salons and so on. And the analogy I would give you to this is that if you imagine that your business is a bricks and mortar version, so if you imagine Facebook as being your shop front, you wouldn't not put anything in the window, you wouldn't not put your name above the door, you wouldn't not have your opening times on the outside of the street, and you wouldn't tell people, you would tell people what you did and why they should come to you. If you're going to a local spa shop, you don't have to wander around to try and find something and guess the price of everything that's on a shelf. People have directed you and signposted you all the way through. You may not realise it consciously, but of course they have. And you've gone there for a conscious or unconscious decision because that's where you know that product will be that you're acquiring. But that's been done through an element of subtle education where they have built a brand and told you why it should be them. So if you're looking at content as you know what you're doing and nobody else does, that will be why you're probably having an issue. So if I looked, I've looked at Judith, for example, her business is as a beautician and masseuse and all of that, and general kind of health and well-being. I'd expect to see on Judith's page, how to look after yourself, how to avoid injury, and I've said the same thing probably to you before now. Guidance, care, education, looking after people. Gabby doing Abby doing sling swing and so on. Things around, baby care and what to expect at a class and why it's beneficial and why it's different. Looking at Baby Maze, which is another of Abby's businesses, is around why Baby Maze and why would you want to go to Baby Maze to find out your information? Why is it the best website for young mums and or people with young children? But you need to do that in an educational piece. So Zoe, same for you. Care of children. Why child-led play is different to a normal nursery. What do children get out of that? What are the benefits? Gabby, for you, similar thing in terms of your health and well-being and what you do for your clients that's different, and all of those things are really important, because you are providing somebody with something that they don't get anywhere else. You're giving it to them. And then from that reason, you become credible. You become a person who they refer to and go to. You guys wouldn't be on this call now if I just put a post that said, hi, I'm going to do a free Q&A. Well, you might have done. You might want to take a bit of a risk, but there'll be an element of that that's come based on having seen things that have happened previously. So 90% of what the Consult Centre does on Facebook is completely free. The documents that we send out, the coaching that we do, the Q&As that we do, the hints and tips, the notes, the guides, none of that is chargeable. And that's because it creates a credibility and it creates an education point, and people start to look to you for that. So if you're somebody who's trying to build that business, you know, a lot of what you should be scheduling, to come back to the point of this session, is free, helpful, educational content. And the twist of it is, it doesn't have to be your content. It could be a good article that you've seen on the BBC. It could be you come across it in The Guardian, you've come across it in The Times, you've come across it in a practitioner's site. Anything of that nature will help, as long as it's educational. I put a lot of notes and stuff on about Facebook guides, Facebook videos, things around coaching and what to expect, what our training courses are like and why people should be on them. And that's more from an educational process. So all of that content builds toward building your credibility. So for example, Judith, for you, in terms of your business, you know, where are you based? What's VVV? How do people get there? Can they park for free? You know, as daft as that sounds, we make assumptions that people know all about our business, and they don't. So Anne, I know I can walk around the corner and come and see you for therapy, for treatment. But if I don't, and I don't know you, there's some of the questions that people ask themselves. Where's the nearest car park? How much is it to pay? Bizarre. So there's a mix of educational content and awareness content that you should be posting out. And that would go in that notes section, or it would go in the about section and information. And you would schedule some of that, and you would post some of it differently. So you can put a note on, and unfortunately you can't schedule a note, but you would write a note, put it on, and then you may use that same note, copying the link of that note, and then scheduling it to be released later. So as an example, what I would mean by that would be, if I share this screen, and I'll show you what I mean when I say that. So if I went to, let's go back to there and then show you. So I'm going to share desktop. So this is ours now. If I went to the notes section, so I've already loaded a load of information. So on our notes section, you'll see, I don't know, pick one, you know, how to schedule a post in a group, for example. So I can go to that particular post, and if you see at the bottom, sorry, at the top, this now changes. I can get hold of that. I can copy it, get rid of that note, go to the home section. So this is now where I would do any kind of posting. And I'm now going to schedule this as a post. So it's already content that I've got, but it's good to remind people, and they'll use it and it's helpful. So I would go to writing that note. I would put the note in. We're going to have a bit of a slow time now. There we go, paste. So it then gives a preview of what that's going to look like. And of course, I would change that text and make it look cleaner. But I would then go and schedule it. I could schedule that for, you know, to answer your question, Danielle, I can go forever in terms of when I want to post it. If I wanted to post it, you know, on April the 4th, I can do that. But I can also do this. And some people asked me earlier about, you know, how to target your audience. This area here, on every single post, you can target every single post. So this looks like a target, obviously. You can go into, and you can choose the audience to target that post to. So all men, women, what age group, why, what location. So, you know, if I really do want them in, I don't know, I'm not going to just post to Morecambe, but I want them within a 50-mile radius of Morecambe. You could actually do that. You can also search for interests. So if the interests that these people have are business and industry, and they are in advertising, I've just targeted that particular post to go to people there living in this area with that interest, schedule it. That post is done and scheduled.
Ruth, it's Lizzie. I've got a question. Once you schedule posts on Facebook, is there any way of looking back at the ones you've scheduled?
Yes, there is. So here's where when you go into your page, it looks like this. So can you guys all see that? Yeah. You go into publishing tools. It'll take a while to load because there's so many of us on the Zoom call. And can you see here? So that's published posts and scheduled posts. So that's now showing me what's due to go out on schedule. So that was where you would see them, Lizzie. And then you can also create them from there. So you can literally just build your catalogue of posts here. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Sorry, trying to get rid of
Sorry, I don't have a notes section on my page. I just had a look.
You don't have the
notes section that you're talking about.
Okay, you won't. So I'll show you now how you get that.
All right.
You need to go on Ruth's course. It's amazing. No, seriously, I can't recommend it enough, Ruth.
Thank you, Lizzie.
No, really. Next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, 7th of Jan. It is.
If
you go to the settings, the only thing I'd say to you about this is, I mean, by all means do it, but you know, it's quite you don't want to get this wrong, and there's a lot of other things you need to do when you organise your page too. But you go to settings and you'd go to edit page. There's a whole list of things here that on the course I tutor you in terms of how this should look. And unfortunately, I can't go into all that now because we haven't got too much time. But answer your question very quickly. Here, add tab. And when you add tab, you would have the opportunity to, I mean, I've already got notes, so therefore it's not there to choose. But that's how you would find it and add it onto your page. To answer your question. Just going again now.
Yes, it did, thanks. Sorry, I was nodding.
There's loads of people on the course, I can't see everybody in one go. Okay, and in terms of how easy it is to find content, so what you need to do is, to answer the question, it's educational content. It's informative, useful content. It doesn't have to be yours, but you do have to, if it wants to be yours, if it's great, fantastic. But if not, and you're struggling, go on the BBC, go on Google, find something that's interesting. So I often go on BBC homepage because this information is peer reviewed, so you know that it's credible. And I may put in there, I may search on and it will find something. There you go. So I could go in and have a look throughout this, and I mean, I wouldn't go on Brexit, political. Coming back to Lizzie's comment, what not to post. For God's sake, don't post anything that's political. No one's interested on your business page. But I would find things like this, you know, which are information and content. I would literally copy paste that, but make sure that when I do post it as a note, then I will ensure that I credit the author and the original content of where it's come from. Now, you probably sat there wondering, well, why is that important? It's important because Facebook works on what's called an indexing scenario. So the more content you put on, the more you invest into Facebook, the more Facebook rewards you when it's ranking. So if you're putting on lots of content, and bear in mind, you know, within reason, don't just throw anything at the wall and hope it sticks. But if you're putting good content on there, it starts to see the volume that you've got on your site, and your rank as a result goes further and further up. because it's a little bit like Google. You're giving it more to have a look at and more to find. And the more you do that, when you're looking, and somebody asked me earlier on about being found and targeting and how you get out to reach a wider audience, Facebook can be searched. So, for example, you go on Google and you put in coaching Morecambe, it will pull up all of my Facebook posts as part of its index to find information. So the more that you are putting into Facebook, the more that you're increasing your reach on every other search engine as well. So people kind of say, we're going to go and do some AdWords on Google. Well, we can if you like, but I'd rather put free content onto Facebook and you'll have a better impact.
Rue, when you credit content, so what are you crediting? Their name? Do you have to put the link to where it came from, or does that not matter?
No, don't put the link. You put that. No, absolutely. It's a good question. You put the name and the source. So if Jeremy Paxman wrote the article and he was writing it from the Guardian of December, you'd put in Jeremy Paxman December Guardian. That's it.
Okay, thanks.
And actually, Lizzie, that raises another point, which is a good point to raise. If on your Facebook pages, or your groups, you are constantly putting on external links, so visit my website, see this on YouTube, have a look at this, you are being deranked every single time you do that, because Facebook rewards people that put in what's called organic content, original content. So if you're putting links in, then you will be deranking your searchability on Facebook, because it realises that you're just sharing content.
Can I just, sorry.
It's all right.
If you can find the link within Facebook, so if you can find the link that you've sourced it somewhere that's still in Facebook, is that okay?
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. So for example, if you don't want to do a copy paste of an article, but you want to go to the BBC's Facebook page, find the article there and share that, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it works every time.
Thank you.
Yes, but try not to do external. Now, I put external links on, but I'll probably, for every one external link I put on, I've probably got 6 or 7 posts that are internal or original. So there's a ratio. It's not going to derank me for that, because I'm clearly outweighing the amount of content that's coming from inside of Facebook. It's really key. Photos and videos. I know no one likes going live. I know nobody likes seeing themselves on a camera. But again, it's really engaging. The average customer or client that's reading and looking on Facebook, and probably I'm getting more well known for this, takes about 7 seconds worth of attention, because they've got too many things going on. So they're not going to read a post. It's lines and lines and lines long. They'll read it as a note, because when they go there, they know that's what they're going there for, and they've accepted that they're going to go and have a good read. But if you are putting a post on that's 20 lines long, you're on a hiding to nothing. People aren't going to read it. Some people may do, some, but like that many, compared to that many that you want to read it. So actually what you can convey in a video in 60 seconds would end up being a very long post. So do a video. You don't have to go live. You can try it 3 or 4 times, but then post it. But you'll find people engage a great deal more with the video than they ever are going to do with written posts, definitely. Other things around engaging content: ask your audience questions. Ask them what they want to hear from you. Ask them what they want to see. Ask them what would be useful, because they want to feel engaged in that process. Just you churning out information all the time, and even worse, churning out just sales pitches, and will turn people off immediately. So I hope that's given you a bit enough of a review, really. In terms of valuable content and consistency and planning, so how I would plan, and I'm going to just share this screen again with you. So can everyone see that okay? Quick nod and then we'll know. Yeah, you should be looking at something with loads of coloured tiles. So as an example, I started doing these as a sample yesterday. So this is what I would be doing when I will be releasing. So I would schedule and look at what I'm going to do. So on LinkedIn, I would put an article about coaching and coaching quality. I could do all these pretty much instantly. So I would then, for Tuesday, I want to be doing a promo video around the courses that I am releasing. I can do that. I can load it and schedule it to go live on Tuesday. So I can do that today. On YouTube, I can schedule again for when it can go live. Same thing. Thursday in my Facebook group, I will set live the new release dates for the courses. Again, it's a scheduled piece of content. This is a live piece of content, so Friday would be a Q&A on coaching and sessions and what to expect. Saturday, I can do attendees of the course, both in LinkedIn or elsewhere, so I'll have a course running on that Saturday. And I might do testimonials on Instagram or Pinterest on the Sunday. But of those 7 posts, 5 of them can be scheduled today. And I could sit back then. And they're not particularly demanding content. But this bit, this form itself is actually the discipline, I think. It's sitting and thinking about what that content is. And the key to that is here, the key messages to communicate. So if Anne, for example, moved premises recently to her new premises, and actually, if your key messages and what you wanted to communicate, oh, hello, Arthur, is all about what your new premises and why come to your new premises, for example, Anne, I'd be having a note about how to find us on the Monday. You know, I'd be scheduling something around photographs of the outside of the building so people can recognise it, and inside. Wednesday, I might schedule on Facebook a how to book in with Anne post, you know, and they're all around awareness. They're all around why, you know. I may well then schedule in Facebook again, a group or on Facebook, you know, your journey. So how did you get from where you were to where you are now? Morecambe Football Club, physio, all that kind of stuff. I might then write a note of the same type with a couple of photographs of Morecambe Football Club, you know, and then schedule someone to be able to refer to that note with the link that I showed you earlier. I may then ask for testimonials and post a couple of those as a scheduled piece of content on the Sunday. And in that week, you know, all of that has been forward planned, and you're sat working with clients. And actually, when you get used to it, once you've written this out, it's and I kid you not, it's an hour's job. It's really not as big as everyone perhaps thinks it is. I think often what we do is we think that it's going to be really, really busy and really, really difficult, and it takes a really long time. This bit is the bit that really sets you to efficiency, because you've already decided. So you don't sit in front of your laptop and think, oh my God, what am I doing? It becomes a very kind of instant process, because you're in, you know what you're doing, and you're in and off really quickly. And you know when things are going live, and you can look at that and know you've already completed it. Sorry.
With the Facebook Lives,
yeah.
Is there a time of day to do a live and a day of the week? You know, I know everybody's target audience will probably be different, but I just wondered if there was anything sort of specific.
Yeah, good question. So the thing about Facebook Live, it's about it's going to sound completely contradictory, this. It's the planning of the Facebook Live that makes the difference, and the awareness that you're going to be doing it. So I don't know whether any of you have ever seen some of mine, but I advertise for about 4 days before constantly that I'm going to be going doing a live, and I ask for people to put questions in so I know what they are beforehand, so that, not because I need the prep, but it's more so that if nobody turns up on your live, you're not sat there going and waiting for people to join. You just crack on with the questions because you've already got them in prep ready. So really, the only thing that really changes with that is that it's a video that's gone live, but it's still a useful video, and you would leave it on there and people will come and watch it later. So live posts and engagement is important, but it's the planning of going live. So for example, if I was going to go live on Friday of next week, the announcements would start today, counting down to the fact that I was going to go live and asking people for their content and information. Questions and what it is they want me to answer, because I can structure it ready. In terms of what the best time is, you know, it's not 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's certainly not 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, if you're thinking about, are your demographic at work? If they are, it's an 11 or a 1 o'clock post, or it's a 7 p.m. one, because you're going to work around breaks and lunches and coming home and other people's distractions and so on. So you'll always get some people that say they're going to come on it and they don't, because things happen. And on Sundays, really, it probably is that kind of, 3 p.m. type slot right through till 8 o'clock. You can go live at any point. But if you think you can just walk, sit up one day in the office and think, right, I'll go live and expect people to be there, they're just not going to, because they've got other stuff on. But if you are advising them for 3 or 4 days beforehand and giving them a reason to want to come on it, then they will do. But a lot of people will watch it after the event as well.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. So in terms of this as a calendar to be able to help you plan, so you put your weeks in, you put your days and what type of material that you are going to release, and then you can use the key, or you can just use your own key in terms of what you're doing on what days. I'm not suggesting it has to be all fancy and colour coded. It can just be a line underneath it, a line through it with that's going on Facebook, that's going on Instagram, that's going on LinkedIn. But this is the key part of the planning. And the real key element is, what are you communicating? Otherwise, you get random and sporadic. So what's the point? What you're trying to communicate in January, and then plan your communications that link to that key message. So if Zoe, you were planning to communicate around the fact the forest school or the child-led play at your nursery, or the fact that you've done the renovations over the weekend and you've created a completely different play space for them, whatever those key messages are, I wouldn't go over 3 key messages, but everything in that month would all be about that as being the sole purpose of communication by whatever medium it is that you choose. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Judith, does that answer some of your questions?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want me to cover off in terms of how you plan that?
No.
Okay. I've made the assumption, guys, that you know how to schedule and you know how to do things in groups and the type of method that you use to schedule. Does anybody have any questions around how you actually do schedule, either in groups or on pages? Abby, I don't think I can see you shaking. You're okay. In terms of anybody else?
The group one, I couldn't work out how to schedule in a group.
Okay. Okay.
We needed to schedule in the Ladies Mean Business group.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. I've got a clue.
Right.
I don't have any other group other than that. Maybe I should do. Are groups important?
Groups are really good for engagement. You tend to get far more kind of camaraderie in group. I mean, they're not essential. Believe me, if you've got a good engaged page, then you don't need a group. But yeah, so scheduling groups. So this is our page, and these are some of the groups that we own and manage. So before you guys can see that. So in terms of scheduling, so we're now inside of my group. And if I am to post, can you see here?
Yeah.
It's slightly different to when you're on a page. So you would click here, schedule post, create it, hit schedule, and that's your scheduled posts. It's done.
That's great. Thanks, Ruth.
Okay, that feature was only released more recently. Just while I am here as well, actually, it's probably worth noting, in groups, you can also do this stuff. Create a document. Recommend that you can add a file. So you can actually upload. So, for example, in the group, I could upload the social media calendar for you all to use. And people could download it from inside of that group. You can do all sorts, polls, recommendations, all sorts of jazz.
What do you think about these polls? Do you think they're good?
You've got to be careful with polls, because again, Facebook's just released a little bit of algorithm to check what people are doing. So if you're just doing this, which hairstyle's better, left or right, A or B, they know that it's just, excuse my language, bollocks content that you're just trying to get people to click on. So polls are brilliant for if you're actually asking questions of your client base. So we've done questions before now around when's your preferred course dates? Is it a Sunday? Is it a Saturday? Is it a weekday? Is it an evening? We've done that, and that's been really useful. So people will answer those polls, but that's actual content. So it's polls are really good if they have a purpose. If it's just being done to get people to click on a button, then no, absolutely not. But a poll in your Penrith Ladies Mean Business group, for example, Lizzie, probably would be, what do people want to see differently? How can we improve it? Here's some suggestions, place your votes, that kind of thing. Absolutely.
It's gone completely dead, to be honest. I put a lot of effort in the beginning, and I don't know whether it justifies my time anymore. So I don't know whether I just delete it, to be honest.
Well, I would probably open it up and create a couple of admins and share it with some other people to allow them to share the burden with you.
I've done that, and although there is Di who's come on board recently, but I've done that in the past, and absolutely nobody put any effort in. So I don't know. My time's valuable, and
I would take the Heinz approach when they threatened and said they were going to withdraw salad cream. Sales went up by 1,000% because suddenly people started to buy it because they thought they couldn't get it anymore. So, if I was you, I'd do that version. I'm going to close the group and then see what people do.
Yeah, maybe.
You'll either get no reaction, and that's the right thing to do, or you'll get, please don't close this group, I really like it. So,
well, Lizzie, I have added a few new people who absolutely love the idea, and I think if we follow it through into the new year, I've scheduled up the post to remind people to post, and I think it will get going again in January, because I think people love how it is, but because it went quiet, it's not sort of high on the radar, but I think we can build that up again.
That'd be great, Di. It's just things that, I don't know.
Absolutely.
My life took over a bit. So.
Yeah, well, it does, doesn't it? So that's why it's nice to have sort of 2 or 3 of you really doing it, isn't it?
Definitely. I often have responses to my posts that I don't get around to responding to, and I don't want to look ignorant either. And sometimes I open the admin up. So some of the guys that work in the consult centre are admins onto my areas, because otherwise we don't look like we're getting back to our clients quickly enough.
Yeah.
Ruth, I lost the sound when you were talking about the live feeds. Sorry if you've already discussed it. Can you do too many live feeds?
It's all about content, Lizzie. So if you're doing good, useful, educational content, then no. But actually, I do 1 a week. There may be the odd time where I may do 2, but that's pretty unusual. In fact, actually, I don't often do 1 a week, because otherwise people will just choose as and when they're going to look at it. And I would probably say that once a week will probably be the most frequent I would do. Definitely.
Ruth,
yeah.
In the group, can you do, so when I came on the course, we did notes and we added all the bits down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Can you do that in a group?
No.
For example, YouTube or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No. It's unfortunate you can't, but what you can, you could just publicise your page links. So you would, if you've got a page and you've got a group, then you would be making sure your group was aware of the fact they could do that on your page.
Yeah, brilliant. That's
it's unfortunate, actually, and I get why you asked the question, but I tend to flip between the two, the group and the page for content, and I'll direct people to go out to have a look at it. So, yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Blog section here on our site, just whilst you are on, has got loads of help and advice. So these are all different blogs that I've put on at several different times. So I would probably suggest, if you've got, not suggesting you haven't got anything better to do on your Sunday, I'm sure you all have, but if you do ever want to go back and look at information and updates and content, then do. And then the other area where you will find, look, is under this free stuff area, and you'll find that there's a video tutorial section, and in here are Q&As and information all about Facebook and business generally, and increasing business. And if you do want to know about courses and information for us, you'll find it all in here. So coaching or whatever. But in terms of the courses that Gabby's referred to, and Lizzie and Janet and others, you can get to them via here, and it will you watch a video and stuff about it. So this is nothing that you couldn't be doing on your Facebook pages. It's just content, more and more content. But absolutely, if you want to go and look at stuff afterwards, then I would go and have a look at the blogs or our notes section on our in the groups or on the Facebook pages. So you asked me to go through planning and what you should put on there and what content should be. You know, I'd love to give you all really kind of directive information about what you should be putting on, but you've all got different businesses. So when I see people individually, I'll give them all that content, but it's difficult because it won't be relevant to all of you on here. Make sure it's valuable, it's educational, it adds some credibility to you and what you do. Scheduling is really important. You know, don't give yourself more work than you need to. Try and take a couple of hours once a week, and you'll schedule the entire week. Forget about it then. It's done, and it's relevant, and it's all over social media, which is key. Don't post in the dead zone, so I'll make sure I send something out in terms of when not to post. And I'll obviously give you the calendars so that you're able to plan and do those calendars. And it'd be really nice actually in the group if you could send some kind of photos of the calendars when you've started to do them, so that I can help and comment and add notes and advice on any of those. So if you do a week and think, I'm stuck, can you take a photo of it and upload it? I'll then put a load of content on for you, and kind of, because I can answer your individual one, then it's easier for me. I can give you some help and advice on it and do it that way. So I hope I've answered probably quite a few of the questions. They've been a little bit longer than I anticipated. Before I kind of sign off, is there anything that I haven't covered that anyone would like me to? Or have we done it? Has that been helpful? Yeah?
It's been fab. Thanks, Ruth.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Good. Okay, well, what I will do is I will upload the documents for you, so you can download them and do those. I'll put up the Dead Zones information for you as well, so you can check that. And then I just encourage you to go to the blog and go to the video tutorials, and you know they're all free. You may as well get a little bit of help and advice from those. But post your progress in terms of your calendars, and I can log on then and I can help you. And actually, everybody else on here will be able to help you as well, because you'll all be experts in a couple of days and knowing exactly what it is that you're trying to do. And if I can be of any help or advice to you in the meantime, then just send me a message and I will do what I can to help you. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And all it remains for me to say is have a very, very happy new year, because
yes, happy new year to everyone.
Yeah, happy new year to everyone.
I'm going to put the phone down at about 10 o'clock so I don't put any horrific photographs on after that one. But yeah, have a lovely remainder of your Sunday and a very happy new year. And I'll speak to you all in 2008.
Thank you, Ruth.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.